this Tuesday morning. Hello to our fans on the plaza at 5th Avenue and 59th Street. It is a beautiful morning here in New York City.
Albeit cold.
Albeit cold.
Coming up, a suspected con artists are using the name Google to con people into giving up their cash. Now the internet giant is fighting back, and we're going to tell you what Google is doing and how to make sure you don't get scammed.
We've also got some terrific news in the fight against cancer. Fewer patients are dying, at least from certain forms of cancer. And for other types, the numbers are actually getting worse. So here to sort all that out for us is our Dr. Jennifer Ashton. She will be along to bring us the latest.
First, though, we want to...
Welcome back to the early show. It is 7:40, and many of you are waking up to a nasty snowstorm this morning.
And Dave's in the middle of it. Just the right place. Morning, Dave.
Good morning to you, Harry. The blizzard.
The early show continues now from the General Motors building in New York City.
In this morning's Health Watch, good news in the fight against cancer. A new report is saying that death rates fell more than 1.5% per year between 2001 and 2006. That means that thousands of cancer patients are living longer. And here to talk about why is our Dr. Jennifer Ashton. Good morning.
Good morning, Maggie.
This is something that the American Cancer Society and the National Cancer Institute put out every year. Right. Let's try to help people put it into layman's terms. Between 2001 and 2006, how many fewer people either died of cancer or were diagnosed with cancer?
So they looked at two things, Maggie. They looked at the death rate from cancer, which dropped, just as you said, over 1.6% per year. And then they looked at the new cases diagnosed. So this is how common cancer is in our community, and it fell just under 1% per year. This number might sound confusing.
Yeah, what does that mean?
This translates to over 9,000 fewer cases, fewer people diagnosed of cancer every year over that 5-year period. So this is significant. It's very good news.
Is it surprising news?
Actually, we've been seeing slowly the cancer rates, both diagnosis and death rates, going down over the last, few years. But again, we want to see that trend continue. And even though these numbers look small, again, you're talking about real numbers here, real lives.
Do they attribute it to anything in particular?
In general, things like prevention, better lifestyle. We know that about 1/3 of cancers are behaviorally related, things like diet and exercise, but also better screening and better treatment.
The report also showed, though, that certain types of cancer are still on the rise, right?
So let's look at the ones that are increasing for men and women, things like kidney or renal cancer, liver cancer, esophageal cancer in men, all increasing. And for women, lung, thyroid, and pancreatic cancer. And we should mention here, Maggie, not all of these lung cancers in women are smoking related. People who've never smoked are also getting lung cancer, and they're dying from it. So that's a big area in the future.
I thought it was interesting that the report looked specifically at colorectal cancer and found that overall it's declining, but not in young people.
Exactly.
Why
so
is
good
that?
news, bad news. In people over the age of 50, colorectal cancer trends are improving. Under the age of 50, they're actually increasing. And part of the thinking in that age group is that those people are not getting screening colonoscopies, which can detect the pre-cancerous colon lesions, things like polyps. That makes things in terms of prevention, like diet and exercise, especially when you're talking about colorectal cancer, even more important. Bottom line here, Maggie, the good news is the rates are improving. The bad news is we still have a lot of work to do.
And prevention is the key.
Screening, and better treatment. That's the key when you're talking about cancer.
All right, Dr. Jennifer Ashton, thank you. We'll see you a little bit later on in the program. And still ahead here for us, we hope your holidays are healthy, but we'll tell you. This morning we begin a new series, Early Holiday 911, to show you what to do if you get sick this holiday season. For example, what happens on Christmas Eve? Do you go to the ER? Let's ask our Dr. Jennifer Ashton. Good morning.
Good morning, Maggie.
So let's say you do get sick on Christmas Eve, your doctor's not working, and you think, even if I have a small thing, I'm going to go to the ER. You say?
Well, we, first of all, work 24/7, so there should always be a doctor on call for you if you have a regular healthcare provider. But we have to remember the emergency room is really there for true emergencies. So chest pain, shortness of breath, really life-threatening things, stroke. So if you go for a sore throat, you have to remember two things. Number one, the heart attack patient will be taken care of before you, so the average wait in an emergency room is about 4 hours for good reason. The other thing is, if you yourself go for a sore throat, you will take resources and attention away from people who really need life-saving attention.
You realize that you just encourage your patients to call you on Christmas Eve.
They can call me anytime.
Okay, just saying. So is there an alternate place to go?
Well, there are a lot of urgent care centers, so these are places that are freestanding facilities. They're not
open
where
even on the holidays?
Yes, they are oftentimes open on holidays, weekends, evenings, so you can try those. For minor things, But again, most people have emergency call services for their doctor, so at least you can speak to your doctor or healthcare provider if you have a question.
We were at a holiday party last night, and those pigs in the blanket looked a little suspect.
Yeah.
Just kidding. They were delicious.
I had several.
But let's say that there is a food poisoning outbreak at one of these parties. When do you know when to get treated?
Well, usually, first of all, food poisoning presents, Maggie, about in a couple of hours after you eat the food. For most people, you let it run its course. It will go away in about 12 to sometimes 48 hours. If you have a chronic medical condition, very elderly people, pregnant women, if you cannot keep food or liquids down for a period of 12 hours, then you want to speak to someone or then go to the emergency room.
All right, Dr. Ashton's 3 top tips for avoiding the flu this season. Get enough sleep, load up on vitamin D-rich foods, and wash your hands properly.
That's right, all very important. Vitamin D levels boost the immune system, so you can take a little supplement over the counter very easily. Sleep, 7 to 8 hours of sleep. You do not want to cut back on that because that can weaken your immune system. And again, those hand sanitizers or washing your hands, very, very important. Everyone's kissing each other, shaking hands, very easy to pass germs.
Lastly, what do you say to people who really want to go to their holiday party but don't feel well? How do you know when you're too sick to go?
You know if you're not feeling well, Maggie. You and I both had a wicked cold last week. We stayed at home from the show for most of the week. If you are not feeling well and you know it, don't go to the holiday party. You're going to be giving people a present they do not want.
How bad do you have to feel, though?
Well,
that's hard to
cough, runny
gauge.
nose, body aches, your sore throat, don't go. And please, if you go, you don't want to give that person a hug or a kiss when you see them at the party. It's not the right thing to do.
All right, Dr. Jennifer Ashton, thank you
bet,
so
Max.
much. Coming up next, sheep doing the impossible.